Welcome everyone to today's lesson on reproduction. This is Unit 4 in your Grade 9 Biology course. In this video, we are going to explore how living organisms give rise to new life, how they reproduce, and why this process is essential for survival of species. Let's dive into the fascinating world of reproduction. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to define reproduction and understand why it's so important, differentiate between asexual and sexual reproduction, describe the various types of asexual reproduction, understand how sexual reproduction works, especially in humans. Let's begin by understanding the very basics of reproduction. What is reproduction? Reproduction is the process by which living organisms produce new individuals of the same kind. This is one of the main features that separates living things from non-living matter. There are two main modes of reproduction. The first one is asexual reproduction, which involves only one parent and no specialized reproductive organs. Whereas sexual reproduction, which involves two parents and the fusion of male and female gametes or sex cells, and reproduction ensures that life continues from one generation to the next. Asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is a process where one parent produces offspring without the movement of sex cells. It's common in simple organisms like bacteria, some fungi, and certain plants and animals. Here is the advantage. It's fast and doesn't require a mate. But the downside is that all offsprings are clones, genetically identical. So this makes them vulnerable to changes in the environment or disease. Types of asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction happens in several ways. The first one is fission, where the organism splits into two or more equal parts. The other one is fragmentation, where the body breaks into pieces and each piece grows into a new organism. The third one, budding, where a small growth or bud forms on the parent and develops into a new individual, and each type is suited to different life forms. Let's look each one more closely. Fission. Fission is common in microorganisms. Here we have binary fission and multiple fission. In binary fission, one cell splits into two identical daughter cells, and this is how bacteria like Escherichia coli reproduce. Whereas in multiple fusions, the nucleus divides many times before the cell splits. This occurs in organisms like amoeba. And the fission allows rapid multiplication, which is useful for survival. Fragmentation. In fragmentation, an organism breaks into parts, and each part regenerates into new organisms. Examples include flatworm like planaria, some algae, and even starfishes. So this method is both survival and a reproductive strategy in these organisms. The next one is budding. Budding occurs when a new organism grows a small part called a bud on the parent body. So over time, the bud grows and eventually detaches. Examples include yeast, a type of fungus, and a hydra, a freshwater animal. These are reproduced by budding. Buds are genetically identical to the parent but may start smaller in size. Next, we have sporulation. Sporulation is a method of forming spores, tiny, resistant structures that can survive harsh conditions. Spores can grow into new individuals when conditions become favorable. This method is common in fungi like Penicillium and Mucor. Sporulation helps organisms to colonize new areas as the spores are light and can travel through air. Vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation is a type of asexual reproduction in plants using parts like roots, stems, or leaves. Examples include runners in strawberries, rhizome in ginger, tubers like potatoes, and corms like gladiolis. And this method allows reproduction and the spread of plants in a habitat. Sexual reproduction in humans. Sexual reproduction involves two parents and the fusion of their gametes, a sperm from the male and egg from the female. These gametes are formed through a special cell division process called meiosis. The fusion of sperm and egg forms a zygote, and which eventually develops into a new individual. This method introduces genetic diversity, which is important for evolution and survival. Next to that, we have primary and secondary sexual characteristics. Let's look at the difference. Primary sexual characteristics are present from birth and include the reproductive organs. In males, we have testes, scrotum, and penis. In females, ovaries, uterus, and vagina. Next, we have secondary sexual characteristics. Appears at puberty. In males, deeper voice, facial hair, and the muscle growth are the signs. Whereas in females, breast development, hip widening, and menstruation are the most common one. Hormones and puberty. Hormones are chemical messengers that trigger changes during puberty. The key hormones are testosterone in male, whereas estrogen and progesterone in females. So, uh, testosterone is responsible for sperm production and male traits. Estrogen and progesterone, this regulates menstruation in female traits. So hormonal changes prepare the body for reproduction. Fertilization and pregnancy. In human reproduction, fertilization happens in the oviduct when a sperm cell meets an egg cell and the nuclei fuse, forming a zygote. The zygote divides and becomes an embryo, which then implants in the uterus lining. Pregnancy begins here and usually lasts around 14 weeks. This complex yet beautiful process ensures the continuation of life. Methods of birth control. Birth control allows people to plan and space pregnancy. There are two. There are two types, natural methods and artificial methods. Natural methods like abstinence or tracking fertility, whereas artificial methods such as condoms, birth control pills, and IUDs or surgical options. Family planning is important for health and well-being. Sexually transmitted infections or STIs. STIs are infections spread mainly through sexual contact. Examples include HIV, syphilis, gonorrhea. Prevention includes safe sex practice, regular checkups, and education. Awareness helps protect individuals and communities. Let's review what we learned. Reproduction is essential for life. Asexual reproduction is fast but produces identical offspring. Reproduction health, awareness of STIs, and birth control are key to well-being. Understanding reproduction helps us appreciate life and make informed decisions. Now it's your turn. What are some ways we can promote reproductive health in our schools and communities? How can we reduce the stigma and talking about STIs? Leave your answers in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more educational content. See you in the next lesson.